Okay, we have a new question and a new topic, and the topic is safety. And first, this will go to Bob Boggio first. While exceeding the posted speed limit is a serious issue within Ford's Colony, the running of stop signs is an epidemic. To residents of all ages and genders, a stop sign seems a mere suggestion. Do you agree that this is a significant safety issue, and what actions should be taken? Bob?
I think we've experienced a number of activities that were focused on safety, speed being one in particular that comes to mind. And we went through a couple of different approaches. Speed tables didn't work. The problem I think they had with that is they didn't listen. There were suggestions made that we wound up using and wound up aborting on the speed tables. We wound up leaving one of 3. And there's 2 sitting in a warehouse someplace. I don't think the ideas were vetted very well. I think it's a serious issue. We went with some trailers with monitoring, and some of that was suggested at the time the speed tables came up. And frankly, they were even suggested to have video capabilities. That's what we're winding up using now. We also have monitoring being done by some of our staff and even some police to monitor speed. But I think we should have gone earlier with the trailers and the capability of video and the ability to set citations in place for people that violate it, some of which are residents here, which is embarrassing as heck. People do have a responsibility, and not just for their own convenience. They need to take into account the safety of others. And a stop sign is there for a reason. I think rolling stops need to be thought about carefully. I think we're in the right place, but I think the activity we now have in place for monitoring speed has made some improvements in the safety of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Daphne?
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a tough topic generally. I know on speeding, we are somewhat limited in how forcefully we can enforce things. And certainly on stop signs, I don't think we have a whole lot more latitude. To be blunt about it, I think if there is an epidemic out there, one of the things that one generally does in any environment is you do something short and sharp now to try and reset the expectations. And we do invite James City County Police in to patrol, or at the moment they're doing speeding. Perhaps it would make sense to have them enforce for a while the stop signs. Try and reset this expectation that apparently is out there that you can just roll through the stop sign without any penalty. We don't have cameras, we don't have trailers on monitoring the stop signs. And maybe that's a way that we could just reset the expectations quickly.
Thank you, Daphne. Roy Madsen?
Comment I'll make just on safety or safety and speeding, et cetera, overall, is that, over the past couple of years, that's one of the issues that's really pretty prevalent in the resident survey. A year ago, okay, yes, indeed, there were questions like the one that we just had or concerns raised, as well as lots of people who thought that we were going too slow. What was interesting about that is that they were pretty balanced, okay? Is that the complaints on both ends of the spectrum were about the same, which meant that we were probably doing the right thing. This year, that's not true. There's lots of concern about safety. So that question's really, really to the point for right now. And we see it in everything. It isn't just the stop signs, okay? It is the speeding. There is more speeding, okay? And on top of that is that we have people walking everywhere around the streets, okay? And so all of the behavior has been somewhat changed because of the environment that we are in. How do we address it? One has to be, we just have to communicate. We have to rely upon folks' own sense of responsibility for them not to do it. And then secondly, is that yes, there probably should be some selective enforcement. And I'll go back to what Bob was saying. Sure, let's put a trailer next to a couple of those stop signs, okay? And let's send out a couple of letters, because it'll slow down a bit. Because I think the ghosting of stop signs is probably a bigger issue for residents, okay, than it is for contractors.
Thank you, Roy. Ray Van Cott?
All right, so if we go back, speeding has been an issue, and I think that Roy actually hit the nail on the head, because I was actually going to make the same comment that last year we actually found that for every comment we had complaining about speeding, we had an equal comment saying that it's too slow driving through the roads. That has changed this year. It's sort of timely, because the security committee delivered to the board this past meeting a work paper on speeding and violations in Ford's Colony, with recommendations on what they want to do to improve it, which includes increased enforcement. A lot of people are not aware, but James City County does not patrol the whole of Ford's Colony. We are a private community, and frankly, a number of years ago, a local magistrate basically limited what roads that the James City County could actually ticket and police on, and those are the roads that they go to. They don't do the whole Ford's Colony. Our stop signs at one point in time were considered non-conforming. That has changed. Our speed limit signs were non-conforming. That has changed. I believe you're going to continue to see a greater use of cameras. 5 years ago, cameras were less than 80% efficient in capturing the data you needed to do to cite someone for speeding here in Ford's Colony. That actually has improved, and you're going to see more cameras being deployed, or being put in place. In the renewed management agent committee, rather contract, the managing agent actually had to increase the number of people who were trained and licensed, if you will, certified to use radar equipment, and that has increased. So you're going to see an increased emphasis on this, but it's always going to be ongoing. It really is up to individuals, and we have to continue to communicate that, as you see in the talk of the colony, and continue to try and increase our enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Rick Beers?
I'm going to limit, I think I'm going to limit my response to the question to the specific question raised, which was stop signs. Certainly all of the comments that have been made ahead of me have dealt very, very well to speeds themselves. But on the particular question of stop signs, I guess I have two ways to answer it. The first is mea culpa. I'll do that right now. I do rolling stops to me at certain intersections are things I do habitually, and I need to change. I need to change that, and we need to communicate it out. I know this doesn't get to everybody, but somehow the behavior of stop signs need to change. We need to somehow find a way to communicate it out. I'll be the first one to say that, and again, because I'm a perfect example. I know that there are reasons why stop signs are in residential. I know there are reasons, but I don't like them. To me, if we are going to want to enforce stop, those signs should be red. I don't care. I know there are architectural reasons for them to be blue. So I deal with education. I deal with the signage itself. I'm really, on the last issue, which is James City County, I just don't want those police cars in our neighborhoods. I just, to me, it's an admission that we can't manage it ourselves. And I just hate admitting that. I hate seeing it. And I think there are steps we can continue to take in before we resort to bringing in more county enforcement. But we need to paint those signs red.